You are now live on Channel 8 and YouTube.
Fantastic. Thank you, Hannah. And thank you, TCTV. Good evening. The time is now 6:30 on the dot. I'm Chairman Mike Curry, and I'd like to call this Select Board Business Meeting to order on this 8th day of December, 2021. Rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Before we begin, I'd like to say for the record that not only are we being live streamed on TCTV, Cable Station 8, and our YouTube web platform, but this evening's recording will be available for later viewing on our YouTube channel. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe, click the subscribe, and make sure you also click the bell. That way, anytime a meeting happens, you get that instant notification. And you'll be on top of everything going on in the town. We have a quorum. Good evening, Julie, Tim, Terry, how are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
Excellent. It is snowing out there. Hopefully everybody is keeping their speed down. Bob Sozik and DBW's here to make sure that we're all aware that they're out there helping us out. So just be safe out there. As always, our agenda for this evening has been set no later than 48 hours out by law, and it is publicly available at the official source for town information, templetonma.gov and mytowngovernment.org. Although I have the discretion as chairperson to add and remove from the agenda, it has been set to allow for time, personnel, resources, and public awareness. I reserve the right to move agenda items around to best fit our guests and business. Thank you. All right. Our agenda this evening, we've got items alpha for new items or new business. We've got items alpha through Romeo. First, we're going to start off with an approval of minutes from our prior meeting. That would be from November 23rd, 2021. Mr. Chairman. Might have to delay this because Julie and I were not at that meeting. So you're not going to have enough votes for that. We can just push that to the next meeting.
What, the minutes?
Yeah, so we would only have two votes for that because I'll abstain and Julie will abstain.
That's what I was going to suggest.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
We defer it.
Okay,
That's okay. You're reading my mind.
all right. I would move that we defer our approval of minutes for 11/23 to our next business meeting.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion in a second. On moving those meetings to our next business meeting. What is our next business meeting?
22nd?
December
Right.
22nd. Yeah, all right. On the motion to move our approval minutes for 11/23 to December 22nd. How do you vote? Terry,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Julie,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. Great. We have no executive session minutes, so we'll move to citizen input. If people don't mind for me going first. No one was jumping up to get to the microphone. So just quick COVID report. We've got 33 cases in Templeton right now that are in quarantine. Those numbers are up. They aren't at the threshold to make the community red. This time last year, it was a big thing to say, are you a green, yellow, or red community based on the percentage that you have. So it hasn't put us to the red category, but we're definitely, 33 could be cause for concern. So just people need to be doing the right things out there. Research their vaccine status, wear a mask, pay attention to public gatherings. And we're in the holiday season. Please plan accordingly for all of your holiday gatherings. We all want to see family, but we also want to see our family safe.
Get your booster if you can.
Yep, and it took the words right out of my mouth. So I believe the current guidelines in Massachusetts and CDC, if you are over 18, you are eligible for your booster. Military communities, I think on military installations, they have opened it up to everybody. So anybody that needs to get vaccinated or a booster and a flu shot. Don't forget to get your flu shot as well. on military installations, if you're affiliated TRICARE or otherwise, they are doing boosters all the way down for any age.
And I was having trouble scheduling one, and I ended up calling the Board of Health, and Rhonda pointed me towards Pathfinder, mass.gov. I was just trying to look it up. And I went on there, boom, done,
Nice,
over and done with within less than a week.
great.
So,
Mass Vax Finder.
yeah, Vax Finder. And it, pretty convenient.
That's all I had. I just wanted to give the community a quick update on COVID stuff from the select board's perspective.
Okay.
Any other public comment? All right,
Just a quick blurb and a shout out for our Christmas tree lighting. The main one in Templeton Center, and then the smaller satellite lightings out in Otter River and in Baldwinville. It was well attended. I think it was definitely a move in the right direction. You could tell by the turnout, the people were itching to get outside. And I think everybody had a great time.
and TCTV published that today on their YouTube channel. So if you missed out and you want to check out the festivities, see Jack Frost and Mrs. Frost and band and everybody that participated, you can go over to our YouTube channel and check that out. And All Boards is up there too. TCTV's been pretty busy.
And not only that, there's been a lot of interest in making it better next year. I've been contacted by different people
Great.
with ideas, and it's
Awesome.
very exciting. And
Like Rutland and fireworks.
I actually, well, not that, but I actually went over to Ashburnham's, and their rec department handled theirs, and so I got some ideas for next year. And CPC, well, not CPC, but Cultural Council mentioned it. And Senior Center was happy to have the kids there.
Yep. Yeah, I saw that. I'm glad Mary.
Said that,
Yep.
yeah.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate that. All right, any other public comment? Hearing none, let's move into new business. No introductions of new employees, and we have no appointments this evening. So item C is action related to annual license renewals for liquor, common victualler, automatic amusement, entertainment, and class 2 and 3 auto. If you are following along at home, you are going to have your packet, and you're going to have a sheet that looks like this. And this is what we are voting on tonight for all of those annual license renewals. 71. Terry counted them up for us. And there they all are. It's the most pen ink draining event that we have all year long. From a sound perspective.
I remember when you first had to pronounce that word.
Victular, I'm going with whatever comes out of my mouth at this point. I did look it up too. I had the computer saying when you click the pronunciation, it kept saying, I'm like, that's impossible. You can't say it like that. Whatever, victular.
I guess in the old days, they used to call it vittler.
Vittler.
So it was sale.
Vittles. Nice. All right, does anyone have any questions on that table? Otherwise, these are all waiting for our signature over there. Oh, there it is. And as you can see in our draft motion, pending all fees and taxes are paid to date. So that's all, that's usually our question. And there's nothing out there right now, Holly, that prevents them, like no one has a Massachusetts like tax problem that would prevent them from opening or a license.
No.
Okay, because we've had, it's been onesies and twosies in the past, but I just asked just to make sure.
Wow.
And it's also pending all of their inspections, their fire and safety inspections.
That would have been mine, that's. That would have been my question.
I hold them until they have everything.
Fire and safety too, right?
Yeah, that-
Yeah, we'll put that in there. Oh, it says there, all required inspections, sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Just didn't say fire. Okay. All right, if no one has any questions on the list, then we're good for the motion.
Mr. Chair.
Yep.
I move to approve the license renewals, liquor, common victualler, auto amusement, live entertainment, class 2 and 3 auto as shown on the list as presented, pending all fees, taxes are paid to date, and all required inspections are complete.
Motion.
And second,
Oh, and second, thank you, Julie.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Have we ever read the list aloud? I'm just thinking if someone's at home, do people want to know? I mean, isn't it
I
enough
don't
just to
think
say
so.
liquor license? I don't think we've ever gone through the entire list.
No, and I
I
do,
don't remember.
I can put this in with the minutes too,
Okay,
to make it clearer.
yeah, it's in the packet, so people, if people are following along and they're like, what is a victualler?
Right. Just to note, this is all of our licenses that we have. There are a few that haven't filled out their paperwork yet. They'll be coming in the next couple of weeks, but they won't get their license until everything's complete.
Right. If you're out there wondering and you want to see us read it in the future, drop us an email and we'll make sure we do it next time. Otherwise, hearing no, go ahead.
15 liquor
15
license,
liquors. Go ahead.
liquor. 15 liquor license, 22 common victular licenses, 8 automatic amusement licenses, 9 live entertainment licenses, 13 class 2 auto licenses, and 4 class 3 auto licenses.
You just wanted to say victualler.
I did.
On the motion to approve the license renewals as shown on the list, pending all fees, taxes paid to date, and all the required inspections are complete. How do you vote, Julie?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I said Julie and I voted yes.
That's okay.
Terry?
I'm trying to confuse.
Sorry.
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. Thank you, everyone.
I should have brought that shrubbery and put it right there.
I'm never gonna do that with that. Although, maybe. All right, next item is action related to the ABCC 2022 seasonal population increase estimation form. In your in your packet, you will see estimated population of 8,400.
That was weird.
That's weird.
That one was weird because it was dated December 8th and today's December 8th.
Yeah, it's new
Yeah,
for us.
That's when you,
Yeah.
yeah. And just for anyone that wonders, especially at home, that estimate comes from the town clerk. And it's just the ABCC wondering the difference between the regular population and the summer
Right.
holiday population. They've been doing this for a few years. I'm not quite sure why, but
I know, I was curious for the 2020 census, and I think we only grew by like 1%. It was something really low. I was shocked. I thought it would be much higher. I mean, I know people move away and otherwise, but it was very marginal. If you go to the US Census website, you can actually see what our statistics are in the current 2020 population.
So is this snowbirds or is it, it's just snowbirds, right?
I
Snowbirds.
think, and just people that come to some of the camps.
Yeah.
Like there's a few camps that people have that live out of town.
Yeah,
Templeton Fish,
Yep,
maybe,
absolutely.
not a lot.
yeah. Hmm. Seems like it might have gone down.
I don't remember what it was from last year, but again. Any questions? I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the seasonal population estimates form as presented.
Have a motion?
Second,
And I have a second. Thank you. Any further discussion? I think we're running about 8,100, so a couple hundred over. Hearing nothing further on the motion to approve the seasonal population estimation form as presented. How do you vote, Carrie?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Julie?
yes.
And I vote yes as well. Thank you. All right. Item F as in Foxtrot, we're going to move to the end because I'm going to need an executive session for the action related to extension of employment of our town accountant. So we'll move that, and at that point, we'll make a motion to go into executive and cite the reason.
You skipped item B.
I skipped out a meeting. All right, I'm sorry. Item E, action related to the sewer superintendent contract. We have that in there. This is for Jeffrey Aldrich, who was the assistant super.
Yep.
Bob Donald moved on to,
Clinton.
who was it? Clinton.
Clinton.
Okay. I know Bob was riveted by our meetings. He's probably watching right now. So Bob, thank you very much. Appreciate, we'll get you a certificate. I do, I joke, but I very much appreciate him stepping in. He was coming from Montague. Yep. There's a great barbecue place down there. That's why I remember exactly how to get there. But came in wealth of information and experience, and I'm glad that we're able to fill in right behind him with his second in command. I did not have any questions about any issues with the contract as the sewer commission sent it to us. Anyone else have any questions on it?
This is just a matter of formality
Right.
because it's already been tested and vetted by the sewer commissioners.
I would move to approve the contract for the sewer superintendent as presented.
Second.
And I have a second. Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none on the motion to approve the contract for the sewer superintendent as presented. How do you vote, Terry?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. We're skipping over F. We lost our TV.
Yeah, you're all set. You guys are still on.
Okay.
I'm just, yeah.
All right, let's see. Item G is in golf, action related to the amendment to the DPW Director Employment Agreement. And you've got a bunch in your packet. You have the previous agreement. Mr. Solicit's with us tonight.
Did you get your extension cords back?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't hand deliver. Thank you.
So you've got all the backup documentation. So this contract amendment is changing the year 3 of 2023 salary. And it is further reducing the termination time frame from 90 days to 30 days. So that's the crux of change to the agreement.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I move to approve the amendment to the DPW Director's Employment Agreement as presented.
Okay, motion.
Second.
And I have a second. Any further discussion?
Is this the old one?
The old one was right behind it.
Page 4 of
Yep,
12?
20, so it's dated 29th of October 2020.
So if you look on 4 of 12, this is gonna be the old one, because it's just a little mistake there. I just want to make sure that that's not the contract. It should say Bob, shouldn't it? I think they cut, I don't think.
No, I understand what you're saying. I just want to make sure. It says Leonard Tisdale within the contract.
It says what?
The town may compromise and settle any such claim or suit and will pay the amount of any settlement or judgment rendered thereon without recourse to Leonard Tisdale. So for indemnification purposes, you're not getting it.
Yeah,
Lenny's getting it. No.
that's my Swiss bank
But that
account.
was in the old contract, so Lenny's in again.
But yeah, good catch. Holly, if you can just take that note. I think I did the same thing with Adams at one point, and we were talking about it. And I forget, but yeah, you gotta, it's not just a copy paste, you gotta go through the whole thing. Good catch. Nice catch. Any further questions? All right, on the motion to approve the amendment to the DPW Director's Employment Agreement as presented, how do you vote, Terry?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Thank you for everything that you do, Mr. Zelzak.
Above and beyond.
We'll get that salt.
Yeah. All right. Item H is in hotel action related to the job description for temporary senior center assistant. I read through it, Holly. Is this a new job description or an alteration to it?
It's a new one.
Okay.
I think, Jack, did you want to talk about it, Jackie?
I can, sure.
Okay.
This is a position that we would propose to be paid for out of the senior center formula grant. And it's really to just kind of address the staffing
Yeah.
issue at the senior center. And this was even before Kaylee resigned. A couple years ago, when the center restructured, even after the restructuring, there were 99 staff hours per week there. Currently, there's 59. And Kaylee's position is included in there, even though it's not
Okay.
filled currently. And all of our statistics bear out that the center is busier than ever. Far more rides, which involves dispatch, much more attendance at activities. And they're really struggling. They're doing as much as they can to
Yeah.
recruit volunteers, but they need staff.
And I know the Council on Aging was trying to echo that as well. I was pleased that the school, the superintendent was there to try and offer any help or otherwise. So volunteerism, that was a really good thing to have happen.
It is, and I was happy about that too,
Yeah.
but as you know, volunteers need supervision.
Yep.
So it's great, but it doesn't really get to the core of the staffing problem.
Okay. And this is, I don't remember if she said her name, it's Jackie Pratt.
I'm sorry.
Services Director. I don't have any questions, and especially with the appropriation to pay for it, it's coming out of the regular grant.
Yeah, the only other question I had, looking at the formatting, and I believe if this was coordinated with the town administrator, this is following the outline of the last piece we've yet to see from the wage and compensation
Yeah.
study, where they actually mapped out a lot of these positions.
Okay,
But having seen the work of the consultant in the past, this looks eerily familiar in a good way.
You have someone like that?
we don't.
Okay.
Yeah, she's already paid.
Julie, did you have?
Can I just take a quick look at yours? I looked at it that way, but I don't have it in front.
And I believe Adam wanted this to be approved by the board because it was going to be used, paid for out of the formula grant. He wanted to make sure that.
Yeah, that's what you said.
That's why.
Oh,
it
I'm
came-
sorry, I
Yeah,
didn't
that's
hear
why
that.
it came up to us, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because it's coming out of the formula grant.
His husband got his first senior news call
Oh,
over the phone, and Cindy left a message with all the events that are happening and how to sign up for them, so that's nice.
yeah, they do that through the senior center software.
I have to say, it was really clean in there.
It's
I
beautiful.
was really, so all the prep and everything for the all boards meeting, it felt awesome.
Yeah.
So you and your team down there.
And Bob's-
What's
Bob's the custodian at the senior center.
Oh, yeah, he's actually a temp, but he's already been here, I think, almost a year.
In quite a
half
while.
a year.
Yeah.
He's great.
And he-
Bathrooms,
real decent kid.
spotless. Yeah.
He's
He always
great.
has a rag in his hand wiping everything down.
Yeah, he's great. And the staff is
Yeah,
phenomenal.
well, let's work on getting some more staff.
Thank you.
Put in a plug for the activities assistant. It's posted on the website.
I move to approve the job description for the temporary senior center assistant and for it to be effective contingent upon the budget for FY '23.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Why is it listed as temporary?
I think that Mr. Bennett and Adam came to a recent council on aging board and talked about, you know, the caution involved when you're using funds that are not fixed. Even though that grant is pretty much a stable thing, based on the number of seniors in town, it's not a fixed source of income for the town, so they suggested a temporary position. When you say contingent on the fiscal year '23 budget, does that mean we wouldn't be able to hire someone prior to that? Because that's, the need is now.
So that's the-
I don't think that's what that refers to. I think that you would be able to do that
Okay.
now.
Okay,
The need is now, but it's going into the 2023 budget.
Maybe that just means because of the grant, it's contingent. That's why it
With the
says
grant, it
temporary.
will
okay,
Yeah.
kick
Contingent
in.
upon the
Like
grant.
I can understand where Adam's coming with it. I'm
Okay.
not sure how to explain it. but-
Contingent upon the grant, right? Because it's not a fixed fund, so
I
maybe.
think he's
No, we're
planning
talking
on
about
putting
two
it in the
different-
budget for
Oh,
23.
in
I think
our
that's why
budget?
it said that.
like hiring someone now and then also,
Putting it in the budget, I believe that's where he was coming from.
Putting in the budget later if we don't get more grant.
Well, I think it'll be funded with a formula grant for this year, as soon as we can hire someone. And then it would be put in the budget for next year. So it could become a permanent position, I believe is where he was
Okay.
going with that.
all right,
Yeah, but we don't know if that's.
So what if?
So what
if
are
I
we
amend
really
mine-
voting on tonight?
So let
To
me,
approve the position.
let me do this,
The job
this
description.
just job description, but let me amend it to say, subject to availability of funds.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That would be a little more
Because
clear.
if it's
I think that's
certified,
more clear.
Yep.
Yeah.
so I'm gonna
Okay.
amend my motion to say, I move to approve the job description for the temporary senior center assistant and for it to be effective contingent on the availability of funds.
Second,
I have a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing no other discussion or questions, I move to approve the job description for the temporary senior center assistant for it to be effective contingent on availability of funds. How do you vote, Terry?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Julie?
yes.
And I vote yes as well.
thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Night, Jackie. Good to see you.
Drive safe.
I'm still gonna take that. Item F on the accountant. The abundance of caution for not having it as a executive session posted prior. I don't want to exceed my authority as chair, so we'll come back to item F at the end of our agenda, but it'll give me some time to figure out what I want to do with item F. Item I is in India, action related to the acceptance of a gift of the commercial vacuum from the Royers. Okay, letter from Bob Sozik. Tom and Luann Royer would like to donate a used Royal commercial vacuum cleaner to the town of Templeton, which will be used at town hall. Tom and Luann were the prior owners of Camelot. I suspect something that's a lot of the equipment that they had left over. What can you tell us about the vacuum, Bob?
Well, I mean, it is an older vacuum, but you can still get parts for it today. And it's in fairly good shape. And with once we have the two current ones out of service, so I was either going to have to go buy one and then go in. And brought my attention to have this issue like the morning. So
Okay. But it's currently mission capable.
it's what?
It's operable.
Yeah,
It works, okay.
yeah. I had a broken wheel and they even ordered a wheel, put it on it before she gave it to us.
Oh, that's something. Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Wonderful people.
Now, I would move to accept the gift of a commercial vacuum cleaner from Tom and Luann Royer.
Second.
And a second, any further discussion or questions while we have Bob?
No, but if they're watching, thank you.
Okay, hearing nothing else on the motion to accept the gift of the commercial vacuum cleaner from Tom and Luann Royer. Belay that, what's the commercial value of it?
I don't know what the value, I mean, if you were to buy it new, I'm sure. It's probably close to $800,000 vacuum.
Okay. I move to accept the gift of the commercial vacuum cleaner from Tom and Luann Royer. How do you vote, Terry?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Thanks, Tom and Luann. All right, next item is item J as in Juliet, action related to the discharge of a mortgage. This is for a payout. And the mortgage holder is last name Bailey. No, I'm sorry, that's the lawyer representing. Yep, from Phyllis and Eugene Dennis. Yep, so Mr. Bailey says, I'm representing the seller of a property and was directed to you to request a payoff statement for mortgage from Phyllis and Eugene Dennis to the town of Templeton, or you provide payoff. Payoff amount is $10,256.25. Did they write the check?
They did, yeah. Cheryl's got it already deposited.
Great. This is a good thing.
Yep, paid in full.
So all we need to do is just approve that.
Mrs.
Go ahead.
Julie.
No, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the discharge of mortgage to remove the town's lien on the property at 12 Forest Street, Templeton, as the lien has been paid in full and for the chair to sign.
Okay, have a motion? Need a second?
Second.
Thank you, Julie. Any further questions? On the motion to approve the discharge of mortgage to remove the town's lien on the property at 12 Forest Street, Templeton, as the lien has been paid in full and for the chair to sign. How do you vote, Terry?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Congrats to Phyllis and Eugene Dennis. Our next item is action related to town property use policy. I think the last meeting, Tim and Terry,
We deferred to
pushed
this meeting because we know you had some comments and thoughts on here. And we didn't want to take action on this without hearing what you had to add or say.
And it was nice to have this. Did you do this one?
I did, yeah. After we talked about it last meeting, I put it out on our listserv and got some information back from some of the towns. And Mr. Bennett had suggested, he thought the prices were a little high. And I looked at that and lowered the prices and tried to do it a little more equitably, compared to the study. And I think I addressed everything that everyone else was concerned about in there. Thank you.
so it's not in the packet, but Holly did the study. Please frame it. Watching the YouTube will be able to pause it and look at that. So she looked at like town of Avon parks, event fees, $25 for weddings, 50 for wedding photos. East Bridgewater, their town common, $15 permit fee, less than 50 people, $50 a day, over 50 to 200, $100 a day, over 200, $150 a day. Air, use town hall, $150 flat fee, $50 for nonprofits. Ashfield, resident or organization with no admission fee, $30, 75 with during the heating season. Refundable security deposits. Ours are refundable as well. Auburn, $35 fee for events. Northfield, $15, $50 a day for under 100 people. And again, those watching YouTube, you can freeze frame and take a look at the what Holly had compiled. So it was based on her research. She has proposed reductions on the new policy. I've read through the policy. I'm good with the policy. I think it's a good policy, and I'd like to vote for that tonight. I did have some issues with the form, and I talked with Holly about it. You see it, you've got a much more clean form, but it was 3 pages.
Yeah.
So I talked to her about, necessity wise, and she kind of walked me through to say a regular, quote unquote, regular isn't going to go through a lot of the pieces and parts of it. But the more that we talk through it, we always ask questions. The data points are what we want to know. Did they have the insurance? Did it, what are they doing? How many people? How long is it going to be? Is it going to be alcohol? What Holly's done with this form is basically set the applicant up for success because they can provide all that information. As far as, people coming in to see Holly, they can get guidance from Holly as they fill out the form. I would advocate to have it online so people could download it and see it ahead of time. I said, Holly is our webmaster for the most part. So however you want to frame it, if it's online, people should not be overwhelmed by a 3-page form. They should actually kind of embrace that because it does the work for them. Their event will be better if they fill out a complete form.
And what's fantastic is you put the phone number for public works, non-emergency police, fire, developmental services.
Sir,
Sir, it's all there.
If I may, you have use of town hall? Did I hear that correct?
she was just researching, and it was Ashfield that you could rent town hall. Maybe their town hall has like an open space, kind of like an armory. That's not us.
Okay.
Those
Yeah,
those are the other towns.
yeah, it was just comparison to
I
the
was gonna
town.
say maybe outdoor, but who would be the
Yeah,
key holder if you
Right.
start?
I'd like to rent Lori Witta's desk. Can I do that?
My kid wants a select board birthday party.
Yeah, God, that's fine.
We want the select board room, DCTV
Right.
to film it.
Mr. Chairman, may I just make a statement that this has been a long time in the making?
Mhm.
And it will be really nice to see this pass tonight.
Yeah.
And get up on that website, because I think a lot of questions and a lot of different things that have come up to this board in the years that I've been on it, they can all be eliminated just by putting this policy in place.
You know,
I mean, it's
most
that
confusions,
simple.
I even get calls.
Thanks, Jordan.
Use the com and I will
Right.
direct them up here.
Direct them here and they can get a form and make it happen. And it even says it at the very end, they have the 30 days to do it. So hopefully people will read, the fine print on these and make sure that they get them in when they want these events.
The actual 3-part form also
It's
says it
great.
can be faxed or
It can
emailed.
be faxed
Which is
or
wonderful.
emailed. I mean, it's so user friendly. So thank you for that, Holly.
You mean on the website, you need to use the term preview of the form, but it's recommended, to come into town hall for,
Guidance or
Guidance if you need it. Yeah.
I did want to comment, actually, now that Bob brought that up. So I originally was trying to just set this up as a guidance for all events, parades, everything.
Mhm.
I do have senior community center on here and town hall meeting room.
Oh, yeah.
However, I don't know if there's been enough discussion or research on, whether you can use the senior community center, how much it would be. Then we'd have to have staff time and everything there. So I'm wondering if maybe we should scratch off those 2 for now and just leave it at the parks.
I agree.
And then,
The form, the policy doesn't say, and the form must remain fixed, we can.
Right.
We can change the form to fit what the needs are to meet the spirit of the policy.
right,
Policy is great.
What a lot of places do, if you, like, say you want to run town hall for the senior center, they actually charge the amount, and they usually use like the custodian to open and secure the building during
Yeah.
the event.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I guess we can have that discussion down the line.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll have, it's not too long now that we'll have Scout
Right.
Hall also as an open space as well.
I think my only hesitation here though is that why wouldn't we offer those two?
Well,
Why wouldn't we offer them now? Because you don't need to staff, like you said.
Yeah, we'll talk
Yeah.
that out.
But
You know, we'd
but I
have to
think you
talk that
do
out.
because if you're gonna just hand out a key to town hall to use the conference room,
You have to have
we
somebody
don't know
scheduled.
people. You're gonna have to have somebody
Right,
here.
I can understand the
Yeah.
conference from here, but I'm just thinking like, say, senior center, you know, first thing popping in my head. Someone wants to give grandmother a nice big birthday party. Family's putting it on, they want to do it
Right.
at our senior center, this person's gonna be 100 years old or whatever. This is perfect.
It is,
Right?
but a staff member needs to be there,
Yeah,
not
I
a
would say
senior
so.
center staff member, but somebody. So
custodial.
say I would go over there
Did
for a
you not
couple
say-
hours, they would need to pay for that, someone
Right,
to be there because
just
it's
to
town
have it,
property. you-
Right.
It's
You
overtime.
know, can't just like,
And there's gonna be an
Yeah.
event.
so I think that might be a
coordinator.
little bit of more of a discussion
And it
and
would
some
have to be a
research.
full-time equivalent, it would have to be a full-time employee, because, you know,
Mhm.
to just babysit the senior center for a 19 and a half employee would be, it would be a waste of the taxpayers' money.
Right,
right.
right. So maybe if we
Hmm.
just took those two off for now, put some more thought into that.
The only other comment I have to add, and this came up in our discussion at the last meeting, Select Board Member Bennett brought to our attention on page 2 of the policy. And we have Templeton resident businesses or organizations greater than or less than 100 attending.
Mhm.
But the fees that we have proposed don't necessarily align when we look across on the bottom of the scale under the nonprofit. You know, nonprofits are coming in sometimes less than what we're charging a town resident. And that did raise some questions and concerns.
Oh, I thought he said the nonprofits were too much. We were charging too much for them.
I thought he was concerned that we were charging nonprofits one figure, we're charging the town residents a higher figure.
Possibly, maybe I misinterpreted.
I could have misinterpreted as well. That was the one thing that flagged on me as I was reading through the packet,
Mhm.
preparing for tonight.
Can you say that again?
Right here,
No,
this is less than that. And that's a nonprofit, and this is Templeton resident. So
Okay.
that's a resident, that's a nonprofit.
And we have two different columns, less than 100 or greater than 100.
Mhm.
And the price adjusts, but we don't show any adjustment for the nonprofit.
And I think Mr. Bennett was saying that he didn't think residents should have to pay to use it. I feel differently, but that's my opinion. I'm
I
not a
believe that
resident.
was-
So we could, if you want to look through that, we could put that as no fee, but with $100 security deposit and they get that back. Do you have any ideas on fees?
the nonprofit security deposit makes sense to me. Is that low hanging fruit for everybody?
Yeah.
All right, so nonprofit organization security deposit 100,
The nonprofit security deposit is 50.
right? Why wouldn't it be 100?
I don't know, I just figured the nonprofit wanted to buy 100.
So they're getting it back either
Yeah,
way.
if there's
Right.
something
But
wrong, they get it back.
this is the crux of the question. We're gonna charge one fee there, but then that's less than what we want to ask a town resident to put forward.
Right.
You know, granted, most of the times, the security deposit is going to be a refunded amount,
Mhm.
but just it kind of sets the tone. It's like, I don't know. And that was the one sticking point I remember.
Right.
50-50? Or 25-50, 25 to
I
10?
would just say raise it to what the Templeton under 100 is. So the
The
lowest,
security
the
deposit,
lowest
same.
security deposit would be $100.
Mhm.
Oh, so raise it instead of lower this one.
Correct.
And
Because it's
also,
a security deposit for damages. They get
Okay.
it back.
right.
Okay.
And also with the fees, remember that these non-town sponsored events are gonna come before the board. So you can always vote to waive that $25 fee if you'd like,
Yeah.
waive whatever fee you want. But these are in general what we charge.
Okay.
So, but let me know what you think. You might have a local play group that wants to meet there and there's 10 kids and 10 parents. You might say, come on, no fee. But then someone wants to have a wedding and they have 40 people, you might charge.
So we got that one for the nonprofit, the 50 to 100. Now,
It
now
just-
we're talking about the 25 per day for under 100.
Yeah, the non-resident, it goes up. It goes up pretty high, from 25 to 100.
It's a non-resident.
They're coming from out of town
Yeah,
to use
yeah,
our
they're not gonna
property.
use
I
us,
feel
yeah.
like they should pay more.
Buy an efficient license. In town or out of town. you
Yeah.
Right. And again, you can make that distinction, like we approved that wedding
Yeah,
and they're out of town, but she grew up here.
Yeah.
So if you want to consider her a resident or waive the fee or reduce the fee.
That comes in front of us regardless.
Right.
so she's gonna come back,
So you
because
could
I
do
know we
that.
had to get back. to her.
No, we had it approved
Yeah,
pending
we
whatever the
approved it.
fee was.
Yeah. So do we want to discuss that at a later date, what her fee's gonna be?
Yeah.
or
No,
should-
I agree with Julie. I think we need to put the stamp on it. But from the discussions that we've had about it, I think we can come up with some comfortable fees
Mhm.
based on the last discussion that you guys had at the last meeting
Mhm.
and then tonight. And with, armed with a little bit more knowledge in terms of what other towns are doing. I think the last thing that we're looking at now is if you're a resident of Templeton, what benefits do you get for that? Or, your taxation dollars are already in the mix.
Exactly.
Mr. Chairman, I'm just gonna put it out there. Maybe I spoke too soon when I said this has been a long time in the making.
Yeah,
And honestly, looking through the whole thing a couple of times in the last couple of days, I don't see anything. I agree with taking out town hall and taking out our senior center. But with everything else in the way that I've reviewed it, I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion. I move to approve the town property use and events policy and application as presented for the fee schedule to be in effect immediately and for the chair to sign.
There's a motion.
can we add that one change of the security deposit?
Did you like that the nonprofit moving the security deposit?
And we can, yeah, that's
Okay.
fine. We can add that, moving that.
Okay, so as presented with an amendment to the
Right.
nonprofit organization security deposit to read 100.
100, right.
Second,
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
So just a comment to Select Board Member Griffiths' comment. We had already approved that out of town request to use the gazebo for the wedding.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this just like going to the post office today, buying a forever stamp. The price goes up in a month from now, but my stamp is still valid.
Mhm.
We've already approved the use of that for that event. We're not going to change the price on those individuals.
No, but I did have in there with the fees as voted.
Right, that covers, yeah.
We charge, I understand what, where Jeff's coming from, like your taxation dollars go for this, but there are things that there's, we do permits all the time, we build a house or otherwise, and I don't think it's, in terms of revenue and making sure that we've got the money that allows for the upkeep and making sure that we can make these places available. The fee schedule does not, other than changing that one, does not bother.
No, it doesn't bother me as well.
so we don't do both?
No,
Oh, okay.
we were deliberating. Don't worry. Going once. Right, on the motion to approve the town property use and events policy and application as presented with one minor amendment to the nonprofit organization security deposit to read 100. And for the fee schedule to be in effect immediately, and for the chair to sign. How do you vote, Terry?
Yes, but I have one last thing. Do we need to,
We're voting.
I know, but what about the taking off of the town hall?
That's on the floor.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's-
I'll take it off.
Doesn't have to- Okay.
Yes,
Tim,
Yes.
Julie,
yes.
and I vote yes as well. Thank you for all your hard work on that, Holly.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. Thank you.
Mm. And we do have those other buildings, we'll have to do the janitor thing.
Yeah,
I think we can.
it's just a little more discussion on that.
Yeah,
We just don't have a whole lot of people to go around to like make people available for that. So it's like,
I swept at the back going from the movie.
yeah, I made sure you didn't slip. I put the salt out on the walk.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. All right, we are up to item L as in Lima, action related to a municipal cybersecurity awareness grant program. This is a no-brainer.
Mhm.
I was waiting when we were gonna apply for this or otherwise. Does anyone have any questions? I know Adam will probably speak to that.
It's actually fairly straightforward.
Is the school gonna participate as well? It's open to the school as well.
That is.
They're, yeah, I know, I have heard Chris talk about cybersecurity, so I don't know if they're participating in the same thing, but I know that.
No,
they're
they do
aware of it.
have it. I sat in on that one in the IT.
I've
guy.
met their IT
Yeah.
crew, at least a year, if not 2 years ago, and they're good people. And I believe this is one of the material weaknesses within our audit. Is to have some movement
Yes.
on cybersecurity, so this fulfills one of those items. So, we always get the audit, we
Yeah.
listen to them, and then,
Yeah.
we,
Okay.
yeah, some of them were like, oh, I remember when you said that last year,
Mhm.
so this is definitely evidence that we're moving towards the right things to make sure that we've got some analysis and action on our cyber wellness.
This is the one you're filling in, Justice? Is this the one you're filling in, the cyber one?
No, that's a completely different one.
Cyber wellness, that's what they should call it. I like that. I'm gonna want that phrase. Anything else? I would move to authorize the town administrator's office to apply for the municipal cybersecurity awareness grant.
Second,
And so that would be under Adam's signature. Any other further discussion? All right, on the motion to authorize town administrator's office to apply for and sign for the municipal cybersecurity awareness grant. How do you vote, Terry?
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Julie,
yes.
and I vote yes as well. Okay, next item. We had one of these recently. This is something very similar that I felt it was very similar to equipment upgrades. This time it's action related to Crown Castle.
Nobody.
There, no one on.
Yeah, I thought she was gonna be here. I
Okay.
did tell her it would probably be closer to 7:30, but I thought she'd be on.
Did they manage the same thing? It was
Yeah.
Angie's name familiar?
It's Angie
Okay, that's
still,
what I
yeah.
thought. Okay. So instead of the Verizon facility, this is action related to Crown Castle and T-Mobile equipment to approve equipment modification at the cell tower at 23 Johnson Ave. Which I looked on Google Earth, and we got a bunch of site plans
This
in
didn't
the
look like
packet.
our property.
Yeah, it's part of the Crown Castle lease.
Oh. Yeah, that's not a
So that's the-
Templeton. The
that's the
location
same.
map, that's not a Templeton.
It's pretty much the same as the
Yeah,
other
it's
one.
right by Route 2,
Dudlow Tennis Club? Dudlow Tennis Club, I never heard of it.
It's on the opposite side.
right,
We're Up
the
past,
on-ramp for Route
up
2.
past where the new water tank went in, just as you go up Patriots Road and cross over.
That's the
The
other
two
one,
ramp.
Ladder Hill was the other one, but this
Ladder Hill
it
was
doesn't
the
look like a
Verizon one.
Templeton area. I've never heard of something tennis club, is there a tennis club around here? It says Ludlow, Mass, right here. This one?
Why does that matter?
I don't know, I just, it says location map. So I'm like, that doesn't look like Templeton to me. But I do like the project team, that is fully listed and solid. You know who's doing what and where to reach them, and it has everybody's name under it, A&E firm and Crown Castle, US and district contacts and all the phone numbers. I like that. Last time I looked.
Put it up on the screen.
Maybe that's their office.
What? The 23 Johnson? No, look, there's the tower right there.
Thank you.
So all that plot plan. So there's the tower that Tim's talking about.
Yeah.
And then right across from that is the actual tower. I don't know why it says Horizon Christian Fellowship. But that's 23 Johnson.
They're doing, I like the way they name their antennas, alpha, beta, gamma. And so they have one of alpha, one of beta, one of gamma,
Is there
and they
any
go
other?
2, 2, 2. Alpha, you know. See? 1, 1, 1, and then they're.
Yep. Is there any, Holly, to the best of your knowledge, or Bob, is there any necessity for notification to abutters? And I know it's just equipment upgrades, but in a lease agreement, but
No, I don't think so.
I don't remember.
I don't think it would
that.
disturb.
Yeah, when
anyone.
we were dealing with the Verizon property, I don't think that we had any questions about abutters or otherwise. I'm just looking at the overhead and see that, you know.
The only ones I would say had any interest on the above be the police and fire chief.
Okay.
Or definitely want to play around.
Okay. I know Verizon went through that. If this is T-Mobile, I'm wondering, I guess it's not really bearing on the thing. I just wonder about the equipment change. I'm wondering if it's with this retiring of the 3G system, which is happening imminently, if it hasn't already happened, and the upgrades for 5G. I would love
The
to know.
amperes are going up right here. It's, so there's a surge protector 6201, 1500, and then the total L1 volt amperes is 1600, and then L2 is 1780, and then max amps 14.8, 18.5, and it's going up to 6201 is going up to 56, so the L1 volt amperes is going up to 5700, and then the L2 is 5880, and then 49 max amps and 61.3 from 18.3. Thanks, Bob.
I feel like that's great.
It's
It's just numbers.
that's why they have to change up the surge protection. and everything.
Very well. Yeah, the 3G deactivations and the switchovers, I know it depends on your carrier. And the schedule came out about a month ago from the Executive Office of Public Safety. It was the initial
Thanks,
warning
Bob.
that 911 service would be affected on the 3G phones, and it basically starts going away. One of them, and I don't remember which carrier, is this month. All carriers will be done by this time next year. So depending on the phones, it's kind of a forced upgrade. The only other question I had the last time we went through this, I did some quick and dirty research, was I did not see on either set of plans a requirement for lighting. We do have the Gardner Airport, which is actually located here in town, but you don't have to light a tower until it's 200 feet above ground level. And they're gonna take ground level for the site it's sitting on. So even though it's 200 feet above the ground level there, and these towers are not that tall. So there is not a requirement to meet any FAA schedules or hazards to airmen or traffic obstructions for
It's
the
good to know.
small and light aircraft in and out of the area.
Elevation 143.
I believe these towers were 150 feet or less.
Okay. Had Angie on before. I don't think I have any extra questions for her.
It's just something that I was looking at, and when I saw this, when I dug a little deeper, but
All right.
it meets all the requirements to the best of my knowledge.
Bottle on the session.
I know. I think that's all
Can't
I
think of
have.
any of that.
It's a good thing it's only water.
I'm gonna throw the motion up there. I know you're talking to yourself, just so we. I move to approve the equipment modifications at the cell tower on 23 Johnson Ave by T-Mobile as presented and for the chair to sign.
Second,
Anything else?
I want to make noise.
Oh, no, no. Did you have anything else on it? Okay. All right, on the motion to approve the equipment modifications at the cell tower on 23 Johnson Road by T-Mobile as presented and for the chair to sign, how do you vote? Terry?
Yes,
Tim?
Yes,
Julie?
yes,
And I vote yes as well. Our next action item, N is in November, action related to the award of town hall glasswork contract. Holly, do you have?
I do. So this we had to put out, Bob had got a quote. I know you guys saw the counters that Mark has been building for us in development services in our office. And they plan to put security glass up there. And Bob had gotten a quote and it came in a little over 10,000, so we had to go out and get quotes. So these were the two that came back, and we wanted to award it to the lowest one, who was the original one that we got the quote from, and get that glass work done. They're ready for the glass tops now.
Okay. I would move to award the contract for the town hall glass work to J&R Glass in the amount of $10,000 and $10,079 dollars. And for the town administrator to sign all related documents.
second. 2 years in the making. It looks good. Let's put it up.
Yeah. Any questions on the glass work? Like, I think Holly said that they stopped
Expensive.
the work on the counter so they can make sure that the glass gets installed properly. Anything else?
Can I just say on TV how great of a job Mark did?
oh, yeah,
Excellent workmanship.
and at the Board of Health office too.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't see that one yet, but I'll
Beautiful.
stop in.
Yeah, it's very
Oh,
nice.
is that Angie?
it is.
I actually just emailed her while you
Yes,
guys.
I'm here. Sorry I'm late. I lost track of time. I'm on the West Coast, so
So we did vote for it in the positive. I think what helped us was that we've recently done this with the Verizon, so a lot of our questions would have been redundant, but I certainly
Okay.
appreciate you hopping on. And, you can reach out to Holly with any of the documents that we need to give you, but you guys are all full steam ahead.
sounds great. Thank you. You don't need anything for me, anything further?
Nope.
All right,
Yep, we're
sounds
good.
good.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Good night. Merry
Good night.
Christmas.
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, you too.
All right, I think we were finished with that. I move to award the contract. I already made the motion. And it was seconded.
Yes.
Oh, it was deliberation.
Just a quick
Sure.
question for Bob. Is it all plexi?
No,
Is, or
it's
is
gonna
it,
be glass.
It's like a 1/2 inch thick safety glass.
It's the 1/2 inch
It's not
safety, but it's
plexiglass,
not
it's
plexi,
fiberglass.
No, it's
it's
real
actual
glass,
glass,
safety glass.
Yeah.
safety, okay.
And
I just
J&R's
wanted to
up the
clarify.
road on Parker Street, aren't they?
I think they're in Fitchburg.
Fitchburg, okay.
Yeah, they're Fitchburg, right, these guys, yeah, okay, thank you.
Great. On the motion to award the contract for the town hall glasswork to J&R Glass in the amount of $10,079. And for the town administrator to sign all related documents, I vote Terry,
Yes,
Tim,
Yes.
Julie,
Yes,
and I vote yes as well. Does anyone have any issue if I make a motion to table item O as an Oscar action related to bylaw change? So Jeff can address that when he comes back. He's out there doing his job. I would make a motion to table action related to bylaw change from as presented, would be presented by Jeff Bennett.
second,
All right, I have a second motion.
It's okay.
Motion in a second. On the motion to table the bylaw change discussion, how do you vote? Terry,
yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Julie,
yes.
and I vote yes as well.
It's
You know,
really good.
it is.
It is.
I just wanted to be able to give Jeff that time because he's put a lot of effort into that.
He has.
All right, next item is item P as in Papa, discussion related to community comparisons, and it's from the advisory committee. It's just going to be as presented. They were. So we have our community comparisons that go into the budget book. So the advisory took a look at what we had and made some recommendations. Will, I believe, made some recommendations. That's how I interpret it in the packet.
My understanding, the Excel spreadsheet that came with it lists out 13 communities, and you'll note all but one being West Boylston does not have the little asterisk designating a regional school district, but the populations are comparable. Obviously, the residential tax rates and levies are significantly different. The DOR income per capita fluxes and changes as well. But it does give us something to look at and just see where we rack and stack in the grand scheme of things.
Was it, Mr. Rivard said, are there specific
Yeah.
criteria that we want them to use?
I don't remember, like, you've got Rorschach paintings. I think there's the paintings that like you have to squint in order to see something.
Yeah.
I kind of do that when I look at my community comparisons. I know they've got a lot of these here, but to try and see a picture or if we're using that to answer a question, like if we were going to talk about fees or per capita or what another community is doing, I do use this. It's just a lot of data and how I'm trying to answer a question that I would have. There's nothing missing, like dramatically missing from any of the ones that we've come up with. So recommendations, hey, do you have any specific criteria? Will goes on to talk about choose between 8 different data source tabs. Socioeconomic, assessed value, revenues by source, tax levies, Prop 2.5 levy capacity, outstanding receivables. I mean, they're all good, but from community comparison, it can be data overload. From my perspective, I'm happy with the way it is. If
Yeah.
they made a recommendation to change it based on one of these other ones that Will's talking about in the list, I'd be fine with that. I don't know. I don't have any. Go ahead.
I don't know, I'm just curious, 6 from Worcester County, does the county matter, like the crux of the county, the median income of the county, the whole county, like there's 6 from Worcester, 1 Plymouth, 1 Middlesex, 1 Hamden, 2 Franklin, 1 Bristol, 2 Berkshire, but like, what's out in the Berkshires? What is up there?
I thought in the original, I believe it was Carter that had started doing these,
Yeah.
that it was a similar community as far as income
Yeah.
and resources,
In population.
but not just population. It
Right.
seems like this is based on population.
So county being a
I
throwaway.
mean, in the Berkshires, Williamstown, we're nothing like that.
Yeah, that's what I was. That's just one thing that stuck out to me was,
Was county,
yeah, the counties where they, what was out there,
the
what.
data
compared to
is
what
what
we-
makes sense to me.
Yeah, I like the fact that we're the second lowest tax rate compared to Dayton. It's nice to be able to read that.
Well, you're
With a
talking about,
third.
you're already, no, that's exactly what I'm saying. You're already starting to
Easy to-
consume that
yeah,
data.
Yeah,
You're starting to do your comparison. That's not what they're saying. They're saying, we want to present this in another way. So when you start to do your data crunching, you're looking at a different, not a completely different data set, but a different data set. So, general so what is their debt?
right here. Ours, we're the highest,
Total debt service.
second highest, we're second highest, 11.66,
You're doing
sorry. Oh, I'm not supposed to look at that?
No, you're
It's
supposed
the
to.
way I'm thinking of it. I'm
It
not
is.
thinking
You're
of it.
already using it to start to crunch. You're starting to
Crunching
compare.
already.
Yeah. What they're saying is, before you start to do that, collect some slightly different data. Numbers of communities with swimming programs. Does that
Okay.
help?
Yeah.
Right. And then you wind up saying, if you see a bunch of zeros or something, then your brain starts to chew on that to say, how many have recreation, parks and recreation commissions? That would be another, a data set for you to look at.
That's what he's asking, yeah.
And my point was, much the same way you're talking about, this is so much data that you have to start to like squint to try and say, what am I trying to figure out? So they're saying, we might want to look, this is our document that we publish in our budget. thing.
Yeah,
They're saying, when you squint, you should be considering other things
yeah.
before you start to make the comparison to say, if you included a different data set, you might not even have Shirley in there because
Yeah.
they fall off, or
I-
anything below 8,000.
Truthfully, I'd like to see like what the rich people, like at least one rich town, so I have something to shoot for. Like, what does a rich town have? What on here? What
Higher
does that
taxes
look
than
like?
Templeton.
Yeah.
There's your number one answer.
I don't know if they,
Pay their
maybe
employees a lot
not.
more, too, I bet.
Maybe they have more industry. Maybe there's
Maybe
some,
we should
again,
go.
you were saying, think outside the box. Maybe that richer town has something that we
Ashburnham,
need,
Westminster.
right?
You can
They may
compare.
have
We've
something,
Compared with them before.
yeah, maybe they have
Ashburnham,
something in there that we would, if we focused on, well, what is it that they have that we don't, even if it was a town that had lower taxes than us, what is it in their town that is driving them to have that lower number? And that debt ratio was, whoa, that was something.
You're crunching again.
I know. Well, it was a reality, it was a reality check. It was like a shock. Now I know how some people feel and tell, what? It's not too bad.
I don't know, so maybe that, we talked about employees, how about number of municipal employees? Whether they're a municipal
of
light and water
government?
plant, yes or no?
Pilots, do you have any pilots?
Well,
I don't know.
you can also look at how many of these communities have an airport in them. Yes or no? Real straight, quick. There's quite a few on here I can cross off just off memory.
Yeah.
So it's what data point are you wanting to consume and why are you wanting to consume it?
So Mr. Springs gave us like a list
Something
of
to
these.
think about.
Mhm.
That's what he pretty much did. He gave us something to really think about.
I think
Before
what's
we
coming out is
crunch our
more
numbers for the
demographic
budget.
data.
Yeah.
Do you have a municipal light plant? Light and water, that kind of
Correct.
question. All right, so advisory, if you're watching, maybe potentially some more demographic data. I think, honestly, it becomes information overload. The more DLS, DLR statistics you're throwing at me, it's like, I have to have, like a whiteboard and yarn and an extra set of fingers to start to figure that stuff out. That's why we have an advisory. Come on, guys. No, I'm kidding.
Mm.
Maybe more, so to answer that, I would say maybe a little bit more demographic data, as.
If anything.
So it's like Terry kind of described, as she starts to ask those questions, whether they're rich or not, I don't think that's the thing. It's what kind of services, where are they at in their stage
How
of
many
growth?
businesses do they have paying into their town?
Yeah.
Let me tell you, some have a lot more.
That's an excellent point.
A
What
lot
is,
more.
what is your residential tax?
What's your residential tax
Yep,
bracket?
91%. To me,
That's
that's one
huge.
that I would. like
That's,
to know.
that's something that I'd love
Yep.
to see
When
more
we're
of.
talking about it from an assessor's perspective, 91
Yeah.
versus 9%.
Mhm.
So there's some food for thought.
So do we have to get back to them?
No, it's just a discussion.
No, they just gave us like a suggestion on our budget.
So this email was Monday, November 22nd. I don't think we need a motion or anything. If you guys don't mind, I can come back, I can answer this, or I can talk with Adam to say, they can either watch the meeting. I don't have it up. I don't know how many people are actually watching right now. Hannah, are you watching, or Caitlin, are you watching the YouTube feed?
Yeah.
How many do we have? We'll find them.
Let's get that board.
They're out shoveling.
Right, starting with
How many people are watching?
Six.
6.
Hi, six.
Right, yeah.
I
And
lost
where
six
the
of you.
Other 7,000,
That's on
what
YouTube.
odd number of people are doing.
Yeah. It'd be fun, she said, now it's 5. We just lost everybody. So I'll get back to them, or I can talk with Adam,
Yeah, that sounds
and just kind of relay some of the discussion items. A lot of that data is good, but it's how, maybe there needs to be a narrative, like you get a cover page for a data set to say, how should you interpret this data? Maybe we
I'd like
have to
that,
work with
yeah.
them to come up with a narrative.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, like why what should I look at? Why,
Gotta
or
think
justification
outside the
for
box.
why we would look at something.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, or I'm not 100% certain. I had heard that the chair had resigned, but for however the advisory committee shakes out, based on what information they've given us, I'm pretty sure that they can go out there and say, this is why we include population. This is why we put the residential levy.
Yeah.
I think if we come up with a justification in a narrative statement, then some of those other things might naturally fall in there, like percentage of revenue from residents versus commercial. Okay, we can do that. All right, next item is discussion related to open meeting law presentation for boards and committees. So we got in our packet a slideshow. It seemed very familiar to me.
Yep.
Is Adam gonna read this?
I was the one who worked on it, so.
Oh, okay.
I'll-
You did a good job. You
Come
did
on.
this easy to read. Except in one page. Font was a little-
Was this just something that you were working on? Because you were at the all boards and you heard, I think it was Chris from Recreation talking about, what do we have to read when we get into these positions that can keep us out of trouble?
So
There you go. And Chris, I don't know if you're one of those 6 people that are watching, but ooh, look at this.
I can give you some background as to how we got to this point that the town administrator and I had a conversation and decided to put this forward for the public. I'm Justice Graves. I'm speaking as a resident, but I do work as the administrative intern in the select board's office. So one of my duties that the town administrator and the executive assistant put me on was a few months ago to start talking with people who haven't filled out their open meeting law and ethics paperwork. That was one of the things that we're doing a lot of follow up on. One of the other things that I also do is if there's any irregularities that tend to come up, when the board meetings happen, because we all do watch them. Adam does watch everybody, and so don't I when I'm home. And we have conversations about what's going on. This presentation is not on this agenda, even though I've had to send out some emails that some people didn't like getting, that this isn't about one board, committee, or commission. This is because we've had a lot of turnover in the past 2 or 3 years with different people coming on boards and committees. And there's a lot of confusion about what they can and cannot do. And I think it speaks, there's a lot of other things that this presentation doesn't necessarily answer for them that I think Jeff had mentioned at the open, at the all boards meeting, that he would like to see presented to people, such as like a welcome packet. But what this sort of answers is sort of the, what are you absolutely not allowed to do? You know, you can't go out and, you know, convene in the parking lot as a group of 3 or 4 people on a board and start chatting up how you're going to do stuff around town. Another thing too is that technology has changed over the past 2 years. And when I was on the school committee, we did have an open meeting law complaint come in. It wasn't on for something like this, but like I told, I don't know if I told Adam, but I was thinking in my head, people don't understand that, you know, when I was going through and emailing people, a lot of people, you know, in town hall, we use Microsoft, we have Outlook, we have all those things, but most people have Gmail. And Gmail over the past 2 years has become more useful for team working stuff, but also it is very, very easy. And I know this over at the school committee, to accidentally send something out and people can start editing everything. And that's a violation. One of the things that's actually not in your packet, because even though it was the first thing on my mind, it was the last thing I did not add, was a slide about how Google Docs is actually not your friend, and people need to be aware you cannot use Google Docs to avoid the open meeting law. You know, people need to be able to see what you're doing out in front. And again, a lot of these boards and committees, it's just talking with them back and forth. We've never had to fill out paperwork like this. We've never, it's interesting. But considering how we've had a year where we didn't see anybody and did everything virtual, and how there was a lot of turnover on several committees, I can see how we got to this. It's not a bad thing, but you know, with the different things that happened, with the 4 open meeting law complaints that came in, with one conversation we had to have with one commission, and my job trying to get everybody to fill out their paperwork, we thought this was a step in the right direction to say, hey, we are paying attention, and hey, please, we don't want you to feel like you're lost in cyberspace, so to speak, but please be aware that this is something on the books that we all have to pay attention to, whether or not we like it or not. I can actually give out the extra slide that I was suggesting that we put in about Google Docs, because
Yeah, I would think any
I
collaborative
think
software, Microsoft
any-
Teams, you just can't hop on a Microsoft Teams or a Zoom because it's deliberation.
and there's so many other things that we just cannot cover. You know, I tried to make it a comprehensive list of things. Some of the boards and committees, most people don't understand that if you're under open meeting law, then any board or committee, although it depends on the reasons why, has access to having an executive session, and sometimes that may be appropriate. But we've had a lot of turnover, and a lot of these groups are like, what's an executive session? And it's like, so it starts that conversation, and again, I think it's a step in the right direction. I think it helps people feel a little bit more at ease and show that we're paying attention to what's going on.
Is this something that we're gonna go over now? I already read it, or is it something that we're gonna hand out to the various commissions and committees?
If this was ever approved, the town administrator had already said he would want this submitted to all of them immediately. Advisory committee, I would just like to make people aware. Advisory committee already has basically, I don't think it's on open meeting law, but an orientation guide that they've already approved for their own specific members. So this isn't something that, this isn't out of the norm, even in terms of the town. One committee has already created something like this for themselves. So this isn't coming out of left field.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so this isn't even coming out of left field. It's just everybody else doesn't have any guidance, and we're getting a lot of questions about why don't we have guidance? Why don't we have guidance? And this is the most pressing issue at the moment of, you know, please make sure you're aware of this one law, because that can affect everything else that we do in the town.
Right, and it ties up taxpayer dollars if we keep getting complaints. We could be using our time for things like grants and seeking out businesses instead of responding to emails.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be something that the select board, consecrates or otherwise. It's just, it's a tool. I mean, is it nice to officially vote in stuff? I guess, like when we sign proclamations and things like that. But this as a tool, other than saying, great job, this is an excellent way forward, especially based on what we were hearing from some of the other boards, committees, councils, and commissions. It's a great tool. I don't know why we wouldn't use it. It's just basically taking the information that's out there that is somewhat hard to find. There are people out there like, it's not hard to find. Yeah, because you look at it all the time or otherwise, but for someone who's brand new and,
Who's a mother of 3 and a nurse and on a commission.
yeah,
I
and
mean, they need
nervous
help.
about, that there could be repercussions for violating these things.
Yeah.
And not going to the training. I think this is a valuable tool. Sometimes during, I don't know, we talk about it a couple different times a year. Definitely, we hear about it when we go to the MMA convention. And then our goal setting, we talk about a Citizens Academy. This is all kind of part of that. For anyone interested, we talked a little bit about it with Chris Casavan about, like doing municipal classes, volunteer going in, talking about that stuff. It's the same kind of thing to be able to say, we've got to do the outreach, like Justice is saying with this slide deck, to make sure that people have that tool that's available to them. A Citizens Academy, unless you have people that are volunteering and you have it like on a monthly or a quarterly or semi-annually annual basis. That's where you achieve that. You wind up having those basic 101 classes. Hey, this is 101 basic. This is open meeting law. This is, this is how a town budget works. That's what Citizens Academies are supposed to do. Back, I did go to one association of advisory committee. They love that idea of being able to have a Citizens Academy. I keep going on about Citizens Academy. I think it would be a great thing if we could do it, and have a volunteer and have an agenda to do that. This is part of that. Like, this would be one of the
This would
training.
fit right in there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This would be one of the slide decks used. I've seen this, I thought I've seen this before, but is this brand new? Is this something that you compiled?
As a town, there is nothing in the books that I've seen that we've ever sent out.
So when was this created?
I made this it was during all of last week. I'd started,
Okay.
yeah, all of last week,
Wow.
trying to compile things from different sources and materials. Some towns do have things very similar to this. And of course, the open meeting law guide is a great resource
Right.
for, the guidance directly from the Attorney General's office herself about,
Yeah.
what she expects to see boards and committees doing.
In TCTV runs content all the time. Like you go to channel 8, a lot of towns, they have slides that run with community information. We could talk with Steve, I think this is a great product. Absolutely a great product. Well put together. It's not too long. Maybe a little bit more clip art to keep people who like pictures in their documents, some pictures of the community or something like that. But something like this you can run on TCTV. You just talk with on a loop, or not on a loop, but like it could be programmed. So we could work with TCTV. You tell them you have a PowerPoint and you want to run one time through, we can put that on the schedule, like 10 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon. Justice's training runs
Yeah.
through there, or and we wind up coordinating so people in the community know about that. So what you've done is excellent. I'd like to even just move beyond that. I don't think you need this board to tell people you have to remember, comply with open meeting law.
I would go ahead and do these packets and send them out to the chairman of every committee that this town has on the books. I don't feel that I agree with Mike, that it has to go through us in a vote. This is something that they should all already have. I was lucky enough when I first got onto the select board that I had one-on-one, and I had a little bit of different trainings by one-on-one people in order to get the knowledge that I needed to start out. I mean, you can talk to anyone once you get on a board, but unfortunately, that's kind of gone wayside because we used to have the lawyer come in, the town lawyer and stuff, and they would give you this type of situation for 3 hours. This is what you can't do. But I think being able to give this to a chairman of any committee in this town and say, we really want you to push this with your committee members. I don't think we need to vote that in.
No,
I
but
feel
what we
like
can
we
do
would
is
support it
say, this is
100%.
great, we'll kick it back to justice, back to the town administrator office and say, we love it.
We love it, yeah.
Um,
I mean, we
Do you know how
support
to,
it.
it out
do you know how to do, on PowerPoint, you can actually do voiceover?
Yes, I know what you're talking about, yeah.
So again, TCTV, you do a voiceover on this, you create a PPS PowerPoint show, or however Steve wants it, and you give it to him. You could even email that out as a show, like Julie was saying, to the chairperson.
Right. To the
So they don't
chairperson.
have to read it, they just sit there and watch it and listen to Justice tell them,
Yeah.
That'd be
email,
great.
beware,
Yeah.
emailing your board, right?
I don't know if I would say telling, I would say drone on, but I'll try and be more energetic.
You can even do fancy effects.
Don't let Holly get the effects or the pictures in there.
You'll be all
Because
glitter.
you'll lose the
Yeah, don't
purpose.
go crazy. The
This would be
animation.
good for that packet Jeff was talking about.
Mhm.
Yeah.
A good start to
Yeah.
it.
So the content you've got is great. I guess we're gonna throw it back over the fence to you to say,
Get it out
great
there.
job, great
Get it out
direction.
there.
Here's a
Yeah.
couple ideas on how you can make it even better. Is that it, Justice?
Yeah, that's,
I thought we were gonna go over it step by step for our audience.
No way.
no, they can do that when we, probably when
I
we put it
know
on
it.
I want to be able to get home.
I know.
Snowstorm.
I know it. I live it.
I was already thinking of that. I'm like, how can I cut down my comments?
Well, his slide says right there, be brief. No.
Yeah, it should.
It should be.
That's what I put on my thing. I remind myself, do I need duct
Justice,
tape?
thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
You do a great job.
I had asked just for a discussion purpose, and I did not talk with Rich ahead of time, but we've been talking about this since the beginning of the year. We talked about it at our retreat, and I would like to work with Rich, to come up with a draft right away. I probably told you before, I've written these before. I was kind of expecting that we would be looking at a draft at the end of the summer, I think is what we said during the last goal setting. But I would like to do some publishing quickly. I would like to get this board back a draft product. I know when I talked with Rich about it, there are a lot of things you can include, and he calls them the annexes, and that's what they are. The annexes are all those pandemic,
Dams and bridges.
snowstorm, hurricane, forest brush fire, all these different annexes and otherwise. That's fine. I want for emergency management, when you go to our website, I want people to be able to download our base plan to say, this is what my community is going to do in the event of emergency. This is who's in charge and otherwise.
Right?
Rich has already laid the ground. Rich lives this. He does it. It's basically just backing it up to say, here is your plan. We have we've had a lot of discussions with Rich lately about the expiration of our, I forget what the document is. He was in here like a month ago telling us.
It's our emergency response plan. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
that kind of died the painful death along with every other community in the state.
Yep.
And there were no extensions, so we need to get that.
Yep.
Picked back up, stood back up, dusted off, cleaned up and move forward.
So what I just wanna, discussion wise, I guess it can be consensus kind of stuff. I wanna, I think I can work mine with you, just as long as we don't have deliberation or otherwise, but I wanna go sit down with Rich, I know, virtually sit down with Rich to go through this. I've got one written. It's pretty close to what Rich's expectation is. Some of the math, because a lot of math goes into probability, vulnerability stuff, I just have to tweak some of the math based on some of the other data that we had come back from the other study that we were briefed about 6 months ago. Some of that data would change the numbers that I have, but I would like to come back in a month or two to this board with a draft, and then if everyone, takes it away, chews on it for a week or two, and then we come back and we vote that sucker in, we will then have our base order. I get off Rich's back, we can work with Rich to write all the annexes. That's why that's on there.
That's great. That's it.
It's part of it. This is the base plan for reaction.
You know what I brought up, and I got the idea when I was at my dentist, for this whole building, there's no emergency plan. Like if something happened here, if somebody went down from, and they needed to call 911, like I actually saw it on my dentist's towel holder at my dentist. Dentist is in charge, second in command is the hygienist, third in command is the secretary, administrative professional. This is, if somebody,
I follow what you're saying.
you know what I mean? In this office, in this
Yeah, the
building.
fire
doesn't
alarm
have
goes
one.
off. Holly puts on a yellow hard hat and gets a clipboard and says, all right, everybody go out. Yeah,
She-
I
Yeah,
understand what you're
we know
saying.
who's in charge.
Yeah. Yeah.
We gotta get her a yellow hard hat.
Well, I'm definitely getting her one now, Mike.
And a matching
It has
fire
to- it has to
extinguisher.
have Holly on it, or, yeah, but anyway, that's the reason why I have it on there. It feeds into the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone good with that?
Absolutely support that 100%.
All right, we will have some board member comments. I believe we're at the end. Yeah, I know. All right. So I skipped over item F, action related to the extension of employment for our town accountant. I want to have the discussion. I think on the next meeting, I would ask for an executive session to go into that. The situation that we have right now, I believe our accountant's contract will either ran out November 1st or it runs out November 31st.
No, I think it's December 30th.
Is it December 31st? I'd like to talk about it in executive session. We can either table this to our 22nd meeting, or we can extend in the packet, it's presented as a 6-month extension.
Right.
And we'll kind of talk, and I'd like to talk with the board in exec about strategy. And that's what the exec would be for. So we can vote for a 6-month tonight. It's in your packet, or we can table it until the 22nd when we can. I feel that we can deal with it appropriately with having the exec session and then come out and then vote.
I would go with that. I would agree with that.
And we-
Going to this 22nd of December with this discussion and going into
Jeff would like to.
executive, and I'm sure if Jeff was available, he would
Okay.
definitely want to be involved in that as well.
Yeah. And Holly, that still would be meet the timeline.
We would have
for
time,
her contract.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
because she has till the 31st, so we basically have another 10. Okay.
Yep.
Is the holiday affected at all?
No, because
No, I know it's the 22nd, but to get whatever we decide, to get the paperwork done, your time.
no, that can be done
you know,
quickly,
There's a holiday.
It can be done the
Like
next
we
day.
signed
Business
stuff today.
days
Mhm.
change in the holiday.
right?
Right, I make the motion to table action related to extension of employment contract for the accountant.
Second,
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none on tabling the extension of employment contract for the accountant. How do you vote? Terry,
Yes,
Tim,
Yes.
Julie?
yes.
I vote yes as well. All right. All right, we have no old business on there. You're fine with that, right? No old business right now? Okay. We are up to board member comments.
I'll just give a brief one on the school. I'm looking at my notes and it is late and the snow's out there.
Yeah. To read this, it's just the high points.
Just, well, I might skip some.
I hate saying that to you, but you've done it twice.
I
now.
know. So, first of all, they have the choir singing on December 14th at the SAPCA Auditorium. I think it's 6 o'clock, but check the website. Under appearances, Colby Young he's the principal of the high school, and he's exploring grant possibilities for early college, which is new and different from dual enrollment. He introduced representatives from Mount Wachusett and Fitchburg State to support. They were there to support and explain what early college is. TIM funding is based on receiving the state early college designation. Some startup resources and continuing support will come from Gansett, some from the Mount Wachusett and some from Fitchburg State. DESE supports their Gansett expenses through annual grants. The Department of Higher Education support instructional costs for college credits through per credit reimbursements. The timeline, receive first grant full designation application, so they have to get the full designation. That application to get full designation has to be in by December 15th. They've got a little preview in the spring at the school, and they'll get reviewed in the spring, and it should be, if all goes well, up and running in the fall. I guess the only one concern on the budget was they had to buy an extra bus, 80K. They talked about ESSER 2 and minimum local contributions. I mean, I watched the meeting and took all my notes from the meeting. So they had a very thorough discussion on the budget and how they were gonna get around the minimum local contribution, because you can't use the ESSER 2 funds for that. It was very non-judgmental. There were no fingers pointing. It was a peaceful meeting, and decorum was well maintained, easy to watch and understand. I heard well. So that's all I'll say about that. You can watch if you really want to hear all the budget details. It was
Yeah,
more
Chris-
of a discussion on,
Chris gave a bunch last night too.
Yeah.
Or Monday
Yeah.
night.
so just come out and support the chorus on December 14th.
December 14th.
Yeah.
Okay.
December
Where?
14th at the SAFCA Auditorium. And I think it's 6 or 6:30, but please, I should check the website. Go ahead, I'll check the website.
Summer Julie?
Just real quick, Regional Agreement Amendment Committee will be meeting on Monday. So at our next meeting, I hope to have some input and some updates on where we're moving. It's been a slow, arduous process. A lot of us anticipated would have been done by now, but surprise, we're still at it and chipping away.
Okay, and that's the 13th.
That is Monday, the 13th. Yes.
Okay.
And ARPA remains the ever-moving target. Every time we think we have it wrapped up and understanding it, the Department of the Treasury is making some changes. What does align, what does not align, what's an approved use, what is not an approved use. And as I stated earlier today in the capital improvement meeting, the thing we want to avoid is expending funds and then having them turn around and say, nope, that was wrong. Hold out your hand, slap on the wrist, and then they're gonna sit there saying, give it back. And when the Department of the Treasury wants it back, they want it back yesterday. So
Yeah.
we don't want to back ourselves into that corner needlessly. So we're proceeding very cautiously. And as the guidance changes, we'll try to stay on top of it. The last seminar got postponed because, again, something is changing. It's like, great, wonderful.
Yeah.
I watched that last meeting. That was
Adam did follow up with, or he sent us all an email about 100% of our anticipated ARPA funds for revenue loss. It's got restrictions, but maybe we get an update based on, because he sounds very excited about it,
He does.
but I want to be able to frame it properly.
I got the same email that you got.
Yeah.
Those were sent to us individually.
Yeah. And that was a
And,
product from Mr.
That was from Roselli with the audit, and this was what we agreed upon, I believe, 2 meetings ago. There was the $2,000 to $5,000 window, and Selectman Bennett stated it. You gotta spend a little bit of money sometimes if you wanna make a little bit of money. So the expense actually was good because we're seeing it right now, everything looks clean, green, ready to go. But again, what's gonna change down the pike? So what this leads to right now is our 2.4 million of the fallout funds that which is paid in 2 installments. We've received the first one, which we have holding, but it's actually working to our benefit under the rules. We could put it into an interest-bearing account. The interest is not reportable, which is good news. But because of the way it worked out and due to our town size, the second payment comes in May of 2022. The piece nobody can tell me is at the beginning of the month, the middle of the month, the end of the month, and how is this going to align as we're working on our budgetary process and town meeting. And that is the big question mark still looming. So again, we don't want to spend
Probably
something
won't get
we
an
don't
answer to
have.
that big question mark,
We don't want to
unfortunately.
get into the deficit spending side of it, but by all means, yes, it's looking good.
Perhaps in our next meeting, we have a tentative, or I don't know the language, but some kind of presentation, whether it's from Mr. Roselli, if that's part of, if he's able to do that, or Adam's interpretation. Maybe we kind of take a line measurement, see where we are. On the 22nd.
The other piece of that was the 22nd. That's part when our finance team first meets. That is a joint boards meeting. We have us, advisory committee, capital planning committee, in fact, the report from capital planning, I'm
Okay.
hoping to have finalized so we can present it that day.
Okay.
And we can go
Yeah,
through it.
Maybe we'll look at the size of the agenda,
Mhm.
just to make sure that we're not sitting here until 2 o'clock in the morning.
Great.
Okay, thanks, Tim.
But that's coming down the pipe.
Julie?
Oh, almost there.
Okay. I did, Adam and I met with John Zlotnick and Susanna Whips in a Zoom call today. I did it from the parking lot in Hanscom, and I had the worst signal ever. Every time I tried to speak, I got disconnected or otherwise, but we had an excellent, it was under the guise of a transition meeting, basically saying Susanna's planning on turning over, she's losing us, and I think she said that she had 12 towns and she's losing 2. And she's going from 3 senators to 1 senator. And then John Zlotnick, he already, I think, has Winchendon, and now he's gaining us. Where Susanna was a resident of Athol, John is a resident of Gardner. So the 2 biggest local economy communities that we have, we're either going to Athol for some of the bigger box stores or Gardner, supermarkets, hardware, other services. So it was a very productive meeting. We met for about 38 minutes. It was the free version of Zoom. Like, it actually came up on the screen and it says your free, meeting is over. I would have thought they would have had a little bit more flexibility in the state legislature for this stuff, but very interesting. But it was a great meet and greet, just to kind of see faces and otherwise. They both did acknowledge our invitation for the January meeting, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll have a January meeting where we invite our legislative team in here to say here what's our priorities. I kind of gave them some previews to say police reform. We're very interesting on how we can leverage our state partners for help because of the part-time problem that the chief talked about. They had a lot to say. Actually, John had a lot to say about that, and he's already been working that issue. I said, Adam said the unrestricted aid from state, and was watching that. I said, we're still trying to get up to 100% reimbursement for transportation for the school system. And infrastructure. Matter of fact, because I kept losing signal, I put it in the chat, infrastructure. And Adam was able to kind of help me out by saying, Main Street Bridge, Stony, any of the projects that we had going on. I guess Bob was telling us earlier about some possible delays to Royalston Road, so to bring up those kind of things, just so they're aware. So it was a very nice, quick meeting. But I figured we will report back on that.
I was remiss, I didn't say thank you to this band in the chorus and the cheerleaders.
You're working on
and
it
all
though,
that.
right? You said-
Yeah, I am, yeah, but it was a great turnout again. for that.
People were very happy.
I have Bob a thanks, he showed me how to work the box is back. And he
Cool.
lent me his own personal extension cords, made it easier.
It wasn't just the buildings and grounds. We did get a lot of help from the light department as well, so
Oh,
a big
wow.
thank you to them, because they usually decorate the one over a whole park.
So the light department.
We don't deserve it all.
Do you have pictures that we can pop, get over to Holly, just like a quick little
I didn't take
photo
any.
gallery
I
of,
was too busy.
like put, if we have,
Justice might have
definitely
some.
have some photos from Templeton Center, but maybe we send a bunch, I don't know, like 5 to 10 pictures and just a quick post. Thanks for everyone that came out and then show some pictures.
There was actually several on Facebook too.
Oh, okay.
The Henry
not been on
Knox
there, I don't know.
Regiment.
TCTV had the photo contest. I
excellent.
know the
Oh, they did.
Historical Society and the school have put up a bunch of pictures in the
Really?
past couple days. So
Awesome.
it's splashing around social media, but absolutely it should be on the town webpage.
The
as well.
Henry Knox Regiment went all the way through to the senior center with us and they shot us some black powder over in Otter River.
Yep.
That was nice.
Cool.
Yeah, they look very happy.
Yeah,
Cool.
father and son. I just gotta get their last name correct.
Okay. Anything else? Holly, TCTV, Bob? Right, I would. Our next meeting is December 22nd, and as you said, that's gonna be a joint,
That's during meeting.
okay? Yeah, we're not going to executive session.
Yeah, I know.
Okay,
Not on the screen.
okay.
Yeah.
So I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move.
Second.
I have a motion in a second. All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye.
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 Hi.
Any opposed? Hearing none, this motion, the motion carries for